A massive triceratops blocks the highway as commuters honk their horns in frustration. In the distance, a flock of pterodactyls soars between skyscrapers, while construction workers pause their lunch break to watch. This isn't a scene from Jurassic Park. This is Tuesday morning in our alternate reality where the asteroid never hit Earth 66 million years ago. What if I told you that in this world, humans might never have existed at all? Or worse, what if we did evolve, but we're not the apex predator we think we are? The story of what really would have happened if dinosaurs survived will completely change how you see our place in the world. Don't forget to subscribe to What If and comment your favorite topic below. 66 million years ago, a space rock the size of a mountain slammed into what we now call the Yucatan Peninsula. But what if it missed? What if that cosmic bullet simply sailed past Earth, leaving our planet untouched and dinosaurs free to continue their reign? The world you'd wake up to today would be so alien that you wouldn't recognize it as Earth. Let's start with something as basic as breathing. The atmosphere would be dramatically different, with oxygen levels potentially reaching 35% compared to our current 21%. This isn't just a random number. It's based on how plant life would have evolved differently, without the massive die-off that reset Earth's biological clock. Those towering redwoods and massive sequoias we marvel at today, they'd look like garden shrubs compared to the botanical giants dominating this alternate Earth. Without the mass extinction that wiped out 75% of plant species, forests would have continued evolving for millions of additional years. We're talking about trees that could dwarf skyscrapers, with trunks so wide that entire ecosystems would thrive in their bark crevices. The weather patterns alone would reshape everything we think we know about climate. Dinosaurs were massive heat generators, literally walking furnaces that would have influenced global temperatures. A single large sauropod produced as much body heat as several modern elephants combined. Now multiply that by millions of these creatures across every continent. But here's where it gets really wild. The sheer biomass of these continued dinosaur populations would have fundamentally altered the carbon cycle. Modern Earth stores massive amounts of carbon in fossil fuels, oil, coal, and gas that formed from ancient organic matter. In our dinosaur world, much of that carbon would still be actively cycling through living ecosystems, creating a greenhouse effect that would make our current climate change debates seem quaint. The geography itself would be unrecognizable. Dinosaur migration patterns spanning millions of years would have carved entirely different river systems and mountain passes. Their massive herds would have created geological features that simply don't exist in our timeline. The ocean would tell an entirely different story, too. Without the mass extinction event, marine reptiles like mosasaurus and plesiosaurs would have continued evolving. We might be looking at sea creatures the size of blue whales, but with the intelligence and hunting strategies of modern orcas. These oceanic predators would have fundamentally changed how marine ecosystems developed. Coral reefs, if they existed at all, would be completely different structures. Instead of the colorful, delicate formations we know today, we might see massive, fortress-like reef systems designed to withstand the feeding habits of enormous marine reptiles. The very chemistry of seawater would be different, with higher mineral concentrations from millions of years of different biological processes. Continental drift would have followed alternative patterns too. The massive weight distribution of dinosaur populations would have influenced tectonic activity in ways we're only beginning to understand. Some scientists theorize that the constant migration of super-heavy dinosaur herds could have actually accelerated or altered plate movements over geological timescales. Think about the Amazon rainforest, except it's not in South America. In our alternate timeline, the positioning of continents and the different climate patterns created by persistent dinosaur populations might have placed the world's largest rainforest in what we know as Antarctica. Meanwhile, South America could be a vast desert punctuated by massive salt lakes where ancient dinosaur herds gathered. The polar ice caps present another fascinating puzzle. With higher global temperatures maintained by dinosaur biomass and different atmospheric composition, would we even have permanent ice at the poles? Probably not in the way we know them. Instead, we might see seasonal ice formations that support entirely unique ecosystems. Perhaps cold-adapted dinosaur species that developed thick fur or feathers. Mountain ranges would be lower on average. Without the specific tectonic pressures that built our current mountain systems after the mass extinction event, the Himalayas might be rolling hills. The Rocky Mountains could be scattered medium-height peaks. This would create entirely different wind patterns, weather systems, and regional climates across the globe. The most mind-bending aspect of this alternate Earth would be its biological diversity. Today we have roughly 8.7 million species on our planet. In dinosaur Earth, that number could easily be 10 times higher. The extinction event that killed the dinosaurs didn't just remove large reptiles. It created ecological niches that smaller mammals eventually filled. Without that reset button, evolution would have continued branching in directions we can barely comprehend. We might see ecosystems with 5 or 6 different apex predators occupying the same region, each specialized for different hunting strategies. Flying reptiles could have evolved into forms that make our largest birds look like insects. But here's what's really crazy. Plants and dinosaurs would have co-evolved for 66 million additional years. We might be looking at carnivorous trees that actively hunt small dinosaurs, or massive flowering plants that have developed almost animal-like behaviors to defend themselves from herbivorous giants. The soil itself would be fundamentally different. Modern soil formation relies heavily on bacterial processes and decomposing organic matter from our current ecosystem. Dinosaur soil would be enriched by completely different biological processes, potentially creating fertility levels that could support plant life unlike anything we've ever seen. Seasonal patterns would be alien to us too. Many dinosaur species were likely migratory, and with 66 million years of continued evolution, these migrations could have become precisely timed biological clockworks involving hundreds of species across multiple continents. The seasonal movement of biomass alone would create weather patterns that shift predictably but dramatically. Rivers and lakes would be shaped by entirely different factors. Instead of human agriculture and development determining water flow, massive dinosaur populations would have carved watersheds based on their drinking and feeding needs. We might see perfectly straight rivers that look artificial but were actually created by millions of years of dinosaur herds following the same paths. This alternate Earth wouldn't just be different, it would be a completely alien world that happened to orbit the same sun as our own. Evolution never stops. It's a relentless force that shapes every living thing on Earth, and dinosaurs would have been no exception. After 66 million additional years of evolution, the descendants of T-Rex, Triceratops, and Velociraptor would be creatures beyond our wildest imagination. Let's start with intelligence. Modern birds, the direct descendants of dinosaurs, already display remarkable cognitive abilities. Ravens can solve multi-step puzzles, parrots can learn human language, and some species use tools with sophisticated precision. Now extend that evolutionary pressure for intelligence across 66 million years, and you're looking at dinosaur species that could rival or surpass human cognitive abilities. Troodon, a small raptor-like dinosaur, already had one of the largest brain-to-body ratios of any dinosaur. Its descendants might have developed complex communication systems, possibly even written language. We could be sharing Earth with creatures that have their own literature, philosophy, and scientific understanding of the universe. But intelligence isn't the only trait that would have exploded in diversity. Size would have continued to be a major evolutionary pressure. Some lineages would have grown even larger. We're talking about sauropods that could literally step over our tallest buildings. These giants might have developed internal air conditioning systems, with complex networks of air sacs that could regulate their body temperature with mechanical precision. On the opposite end, miniaturization would have created dinosaur species smaller than modern mice. These tiny descendants might have developed flight capabilities that put our most advanced aircraft to shame. Some could have evolved echolocation more sophisticated than dolphins, or electromagnetic sensing that would let them navigate by detecting the Earth's magnetic field with pinpoint accuracy. The diversity in hunting strategies would be staggering. Some predator dinosaurs might have developed venom delivery systems that make modern snakes look primitive. Others could have evolved pack hunting techniques so sophisticated they make wolf behavior seem simple. We might see dinosaur species that hunt using sound, creating infrasonic calls that can disorient prey from miles away. Climate adaptation would have pushed dinosaur evolution into territories we've never seen before. Some species might have developed the ability to hibernate for decades during climate shifts, while others could have evolved migration patterns that span entire continents with GPS-like precision built into their biology. The most fascinating evolutionary developments would be in dinosaur technology. Yes, technology. Tool use isn't exclusive to primates. If dinosaurs had continued evolving, some species would almost certainly have developed sophisticated tool use that could rival human engineering. Highly intelligent raptor descendants might have learned to shape metal using their claws and controlled fire. We could be looking at dinosaur civilizations that developed metallurgy, architecture, and even space technology millions of years before humans ever appeared. Their tools wouldn't look like human tools, though. They'd be designed for claws, teeth, and completely different body mechanics. Some dinosaur species might have evolved symbiotic relationships with other creatures that essentially function as biological technology. A large predator might partner with smaller dinosaurs that serve as living reconnaissance drones, or herbivores could develop relationships with smaller species that act as early warning systems for predators. The development of communication would be extraordinary. We already know some dinosaurs could make complex vocalizations. With millions of years of additional evolution, dinosaur languages could be far more sophisticated than human speech. They might communicate through combinations of sound, color changes in their skin, pheromone releases, and even electromagnetic signals. Flight would have reached incredible sophistication. Pterosaur descendants might have developed soaring abilities that would let them stay airborne for months without landing. Riding air currents with such precision, they could circumnavigate the globe. Some might have evolved jet-like propulsion systems using specialized air sacs. Aquatic dinosaurs would have taken marine adaptation to unprecedented levels. Some might have developed the ability to dive to ocean depths that would crush modern submarines, or evolved bioluminescent communication systems that turn the ocean into a vast network of living signals. The most mind-bending possibility is that some dinosaur species might have evolved time-sense perception that humans lack entirely. Just like some animals can see ultraviolet light or detect magnetic fields, evolved dinosaurs might perceive time in ways that would give them almost supernatural abilities to predict weather, migrations, or geological events. Camouflage technology would be biological science fiction made real. Some species might have developed skin that functions like advanced display screens, capable of reproducing any environment with perfect detail. Others could have evolved transparency, or light-bending abilities that make them essentially invisible to most detection methods. Perhaps the most revolutionary development would be collective intelligence. Some dinosaur species might have evolved hive mind capabilities that would make them function as superorganisms. Individual dinosaurs could be specialized like cells in a body, some focused on memory, others on calculation, others on sensory input. These collective entities could possess intelligence that dwarfs any individual human mind. They might have solved mathematical problems that we're still working on, or developed scientific theories about the universe that are completely beyond our current understanding. Their approach to problem solving would be fundamentally different from human logic. Social structures among evolved dinosaurs would be incredibly complex. We might see democratic systems where different species vote on territorial disputes, or hierarchical societies based on cognitive abilities rather than physical strength. Some dinosaur communities might have developed economic systems, with different species specializing in particular services or resources. The relationship between different dinosaur species would create evolutionary pressure, unlike anything we see in our world. Competition might have driven the development of abilities that seem like magic to us: telepathic communication, precognitive abilities, or energy manipulation through bioelectric fields. Some dinosaur lineages might have evolved complete independence from traditional food chains. They could have developed the ability to photosynthesize like plants, or to derive energy directly from geological processes like thermal vents or radioactive decay. This would free them from the survival pressures that limit most life forms. The most incredible possibility is that highly advanced dinosaur civilizations might have developed sustainable technology millions of years ago. While humans are just beginning to understand renewable energy and ecological balance, dinosaur societies might have solved these problems eons ago. They could have created cities that function as living ecosystems, where buildings are actually evolved organisms that provide shelter while processing waste and generating energy. Their transportation might be biological, trained flying reptiles or engineered creatures designed for specific purposes. By the time humans appeared on this alternate Earth, we might be the primitive species trying to understand a world already shaped by millions of years of dinosaur civilization. Instead of us studying them, they might be the ones observing our clumsy attempts at technology and survival. Here's the uncomfortable truth that most people don't want to face. If dinosaurs had never gone extinct, humans probably wouldn't exist at all. The rise of mammals, and eventually us, depended entirely on dinosaurs getting out of the way first. When that asteroid hit 66 million years ago, it didn't just kill dinosaurs. It created a massive ecological vacuum that our tiny mammalian ancestors could finally fill. Before the extinction event, mammals were essentially living in the shadows. Literally. Most were nocturnal creatures no bigger than rats, scraping out survival in a world dominated by reptilian giants. The harsh reality is that dinosaurs were just better at being large land animals than mammals were. They had more efficient respiratory systems, better body temperature regulation for their size, and bone structures that could support enormous weight more effectively than mammalian skeletons. Even our largest mammals today, like elephants and hippos, are tiny compared to the average sauropod. Without the extinction event, mammals would likely have remained small, specialized creatures filling narrow ecological niches. We might see some mammal species that evolved alongside dinosaurs, but they'd probably remain mouse-sized, or at best raccoon-sized. The evolutionary pressure to grow larger and develop complex brains simply wouldn't exist because dinosaurs would already occupy those roles. But let's assume for a moment that somehow, against all odds, early human ancestors did manage to evolve in this dinosaur-dominated world. What would they look like? They'd be fundamentally different creatures than modern humans. First, they'd almost certainly be much smaller. Human ancestors that evolved alongside dinosaurs would need to stay small to avoid detection and competition. We might be looking at human-like creatures that are 3 feet tall at most, with enhanced climbing abilities and probably nocturnal vision that makes our night vision look pathetic. Their brain development would follow completely different patterns too. Instead of developing intelligence for hunting large prey and controlling fire, their intelligence would be focused on stealth, camouflage, and avoiding becoming prey themselves. They might develop cognitive abilities that seem almost superhuman to us: perfect memory for hiding spots, ability to predict predator behavior, or enhanced pattern recognition for avoiding danger. These alternate humans would likely develop in family groups that never exceed a few dozen individuals because larger groups would attract too much attention from dinosaur predators. Physical evolution would take these alternate humans in directions that would make them barely recognizable as our species. Living in constant fear of massive predators would select for traits that prioritize survival over everything else we associate with humanity. Their bone structure would be optimized for speed and agility rather than tool use. Instead of our relatively weak but dexterous hands, they might have developed powerful claws for climbing and digging. Their leg muscles would be proportionally enormous, giving them sprinting speeds that would make Olympic athletes look sluggish. Hearing would become their primary sense, developed to a degree that would seem supernatural to modern humans. They could probably detect the footsteps of a large predator from miles away and identify exactly what species it is based on subtle sound patterns. Their ears might be larger and more mobile, like a cat's, but infinitely more sensitive. Communication would evolve in completely different ways. Instead of spoken language, they might develop silent communication systems using hand gestures, pheromone releases, or even bioluminescent patches on their skin. Any sound that could attract a predator would be eliminated from their behavior. Their relationship with technology would be minimal but highly specialized. Instead of controlling fire, which would attract attention, they might develop techniques for using natural materials to create nearly perfect camouflage. Their tools would be designed for stealth and concealment rather than hunting or construction. Socially, these alternate humans would develop pack behaviors similar to modern prey animals. They'd have sophisticated early warning systems, with individuals taking turns as sentries while others forage. Their social structures would be based entirely on survival efficiency rather than complex cultural development. The most significant difference would be in their reproductive strategies. In our timeline, Human children require years of care and protection, which was possible because we became apex predators. In dinosaur world, these alternate humans would need offspring that could fend for themselves much earlier, possibly within months, rather than years. Their lifespan would probably be much shorter too. The constant stress of avoiding predators, combined with the energy demands of their highly active lifestyle, would likely limit their lifespan to perhaps 20-30 years maximum. This would completely eliminate the possibility of developing complex knowledge that requires lifetimes to accumulate. Cultural development would be minimal. Art, music, philosophy, and science require leisure time and security that simply wouldn't exist for humans living as prey animals in a dinosaur world. But what if humans did somehow develop civilization alongside dinosaurs? The path would be so different that we'd barely recognize it as human culture at all. Instead of agriculture in cities, human development would focus entirely on avoidance and concealment. Early human settlements would be completely underground or built into cliff faces and cave systems. Architecture would be designed around hiding from aerial predators and ground-based giants. We might see human communities that span hundreds of miles through underground tunnel networks, never surfacing except when absolutely necessary. Their technology would be the opposite of our own. Instead of creating tools that extend human capability, they'd develop technologies that minimize human presence. Perfect soundproofing materials, scent masking techniques, and camouflage so effective it borders on invisibility. Agriculture would be impossible in the traditional sense. Growing crops above ground would immediately attract herbivorous dinosaurs, and the resulting feeding frenzy would destroy any human settlement nearby. Instead, these humans might develop sophisticated fungus cultivation in underground chambers, or learn to harvest from plants in ways that leave no trace of human activity. Mathematics and science would develop along completely different lines. Instead of physics and chemistry, their primary sciences would focus on predator behavior, tracking, and stealth techniques. Their mathematical concepts would center around probability calculations for survival, rather than engineering or construction. The most interesting possibility is that humans might have developed a symbiotic relationship with certain dinosaur species. Small, intelligent dinosaurs might recognize that humans could serve as early warning systems or guides to food sources. We could see partnerships between human groups and dinosaur packs that benefit both species. Communication with dinosaurs could become humanity's greatest achievement. If humans developed the ability to understand and communicate with dinosaur species, they might become valuable mediators in dinosaur territorial disputes, or guides that help dinosaurs navigate changing environments. Religion and philosophy in this alternate timeline would be completely focused on the relationship between humans and dinosaurs. Instead of seeing ourselves as masters of nature, human culture would be built around the concept of existing harmoniously within a system dominated by creatures far more powerful than ourselves. These alternate humans wouldn't be a lesser version of us. They'd be a completely different species adapted for a world we can barely understand. Let's assume the impossible happened. Humans somehow evolved alongside dinosaurs and both species survived to the modern day. The relationship between these two intelligent species would define everything about how their world functions. Would it be cooperation or an eternal war for dominance? The most likely scenario isn't what you'd expect. Rather than humans and dinosaurs being enemies, they'd probably develop the most complex interspecies relationship that's ever existed on Earth. Think about it. Both species would have had millions of years to figure out how to coexist, and the ones that couldn't work together would have gone extinct long ago. Modern humans would probably serve roles that dinosaurs physically can't fill. Our smaller size and dexterous hands would make us natural engineers and technicians in a world built for creatures with claws and massive bulk. We might be the species that maintains complex machinery, performs delicate repairs, or handles intricate tasks that require fine motor skills. But here's where it gets really interesting. Dinosaurs might actually be the dominant partners in this relationship, not because they're stronger, but because they're smarter. Remember, they've had 66 million more years of evolution than us. The intellectual gap between evolved dinosaurs and humans could be similar to the gap between humans and chimpanzees. This creates a fascinating dynamic. Humans might be the junior partners in civilization, valued for our specific skills, but not making the major decisions. We could be living in cities designed by dinosaur architects, using technologies developed by dinosaur scientists, and following social systems created by dinosaur philosophers. The economic relationship would be unlike anything in human history. Instead of money or barter, the system might be based on biological capabilities. Humans provide services that require small size and manual dexterity, while dinosaurs handle heavy labor, transportation, and high-level decision-making. Different human populations might specialize in partnerships with specific dinosaur species. Some human communities could be integrated with intelligent raptors, serving as their technical support team. Others might work with flying reptiles, maintaining their equipment and navigation systems. Each partnership would develop its own culture and traditions over thousands of years. Military alliances would create the most powerful fighting forces ever seen on Earth. Human strategic thinking combined with dinosaur physical capabilities could make these allied forces virtually unbeatable against any external threat. The most revolutionary aspect of human-dinosaur coexistence would be hybrid technologies that neither species could develop alone. Humans would contribute precision engineering and complex manufacturing, while dinosaurs would provide biological insights and capabilities that seem like science fiction to us. Transportation systems would be living partnerships. Instead of cars or planes, the primary transportation might be trained pterosaur descendants that work with human navigators. The human provides route planning and communication systems, while the flying reptile provides the actual transportation. These biomechanical hybrids could cross continents in hours while consuming minimal resources. Architecture would blend human precision with dinosaur biological understanding. Buildings might be part constructed, part grown. The structural framework could be living tree-like organisms engineered by dinosaurs, while humans design and install the mechanical systems that control climate, water, and waste management. Medical care would advance beyond anything we can currently understand. Dinosaur biology, evolved over millions of additional years, would have solved problems like aging, disease, and injury in ways that purely human medicine never could. Humans might serve as medical technicians, performing precise surgical procedures guided by dinosaur understanding of biological systems. Communication between species would evolve into something that makes modern technology look primitive. Humans and their dinosaur partners might develop shared consciousness systems, not telepathy exactly, but biological communication networks that let them share thoughts, emotions, and sensory experiences in real time. Agricultural systems would be completely integrated. Dinosaur species specialized in plant cultivation would work with human communities that handle seed engineering and soil management. The result could be food production systems that are simultaneously more productive and more sustainable than anything either species could achieve alone. Scientific research would advance at incredible speeds when human analytical thinking combines with dinosaur intuitive understanding of biological systems. They might have solved problems like climate change, resource scarcity, and even space travel millions of years ago through this collaborative approach. But the most incredible development would be genetic cooperation. Over millions of years, humans and dinosaurs working together might have developed the ability to share genetic modifications between species, not creating hybrid creatures, but allowing both species to adopt beneficial traits from each other through controlled evolutionary processes. The legal and social systems governing these relationships would be complex beyond anything in human experience, with laws and customs that account for different lifespans, communication methods, and biological needs. The challenges of human-dinosaur coexistence would create conflicts that have no parallel in our world. Resource allocation becomes incredibly complex when you're dealing with creatures that might need tons of food per day, alongside others that survive on minimal resources. Territory disputes would be three-dimensional problems. Flying dinosaur species would claim airspace, ground-based dinosaurs would control surface territories, and humans might primarily inhabit underground or cliffside areas. Negotiating these overlapping territorial needs would require diplomatic skills that make modern international relations look simple. Reproduction and population control would create ethical dilemmas that human philosophy has never had to address. If dinosaur species live for centuries while humans live for decades, how do you maintain population balance? What happens when dinosaur reproduction cycles and human reproduction cycles get out of sync? The most serious conflicts would arise from fundamental differences in how each species perceives time and priorities. Dinosaurs with centuries-long lifespans might make decisions based on thousand-year consequences, while humans focus on immediate or short-term benefits. These different time perspectives could lead to conflicts that neither species fully understands. Legal systems would need to account for different types of intelligence and consciousness. If a highly evolved dinosaur makes a decision that affects human communities, but the reasoning is based on biological or social concepts that humans can't understand, who has authority? How do you create justice systems that work for minds that think in fundamentally different ways? Environmental management would become the ultimate test of cooperation. Dinosaur species adapted to specific ecosystems might resist changes that humans see as necessary for survival. Meanwhile, human technological solutions might seem crude or destructive to dinosaurs who've learned to work within natural systems. The most fascinating possibility is that successful human-dinosaur civilizations would develop conflict resolution methods that transcend anything either species could create alone. They might have learned to resolve disputes through biological processes, shared experiences, or communication methods that make traditional negotiation obsolete. These partnerships would create a civilization that's simultaneously more stable and more complex than any single-species society could achieve. The result would be a world that neither humans nor dinosaurs could have built alone, but together represents the ultimate achievement of cooperative evolution. What would your morning routine look like in a world where dinosaurs never went extinct? Let's walk through a typical day in this alternate reality, where humans and evolved dinosaurs have built civilization together. You wake up not to an alarm clock, but to the deep, resonant call of your Parasaurolophus partner, a descendant of the duck-billed dinosaur whose evolved vocal cords can produce sounds that carry for miles while somehow remaining gentle enough not to startle you awake. This living alarm system is perfectly synchronized to your sleep patterns and even adjusts for weather conditions. Your apartment isn't built in a traditional building. Instead, you live inside a massive living structure that's part plant, part architecture. The walls are actually the inside of an enormous evolved tree creature that regulates temperature, filters air, and even provides Wi-Fi equivalent connectivity through its biological neural network. Your human neighbors live in adjacent chambers while your dinosaur partner families inhabit the larger spaces designed for their size. Breakfast is a fascinating combination of traditional human food and specially prepared dinosaur nutrition. Your kitchen shares space with feeding stations designed for creatures that might weigh several tons. The interesting part is that food preparation has become a cooperative art form. Humans handle the precision cutting and seasoning while dinosaur partners contribute ingredients and cooking methods that we never could have developed alone. Transportation is where things get really wild. Instead of cars, your daily commute involves climbing onto the back of your flying reptile partner. These aren't the primitive pterosaurs from prehistory. They're highly evolved creatures with the intelligence of modern dolphins and flight capabilities that make our best aircraft look clunky. The harness system is a marvel of human engineering designed to work with dinosaur anatomy, creating a transportation experience that's both faster and more fuel-efficient than anything in our current world. The view during your commute reveals a cityscape that would blow your mind. Buildings stretch both underground and high into the sky, but they're not built. They're grown. Living architecture that breathes, adapts to weather, and even moves slightly to accommodate the massive dinosaur residents walking through streets designed for creatures that might be 30 feet tall. Your workplace represents the pinnacle of human-dinosaur cooperation. The office complex is a hybrid space where human-scale workstations are integrated into areas designed for dinosaur partners who might be as intelligent as university professors, but require completely different physical accommodations. Your job as a human in this world involves tasks that only your species can perform. You might be a precision engineer, working on intricate mechanical systems that your dinosaur colleagues designed, but can't physically assemble due to their size. Or you could be a communication specialist, translating between different dinosaur species that have evolved their own distinct languages over millions of years. The most impressive part of the workday, is the problem-solving sessions. When humans and evolved dinosaurs tackle complex challenges together, the results are extraordinary. Your analytical thinking combines with dinosaur intuitive understanding of biological systems to solve problems that neither species could handle alone. Projects that might take human scientists decades to complete get finished in months. Lunch breaks showcase the social dynamics of interspecies civilization. Restaurants are architectural marvels with dining areas scaled for different body sizes, all sharing the same space. The menu includes foods that have been developed through millions of years of cross-species culinary evolution, dishes that neither humans nor dinosaurs could have created independently. Technology in the workplace is biological rather than electronic. Instead of computers, you work with living calculation systems developed from evolved dinosaur neural networks. Data storage happens in biological matrices that can hold more information than our most advanced servers while consuming minimal energy. The Internet equivalent is a living network of interconnected organisms that spans the globe. Entertainment during breaks might involve watching aerial sports played by flying reptiles, or observing artistic competitions where dinosaur species create visual displays using color-changing skin patterns that are more complex than any human art form. These aren't just pretty pictures, they're actual communication methods that convey information, emotions, and even mathematical concepts through visual patterns. The pace of innovation in this mixed civilization is incredible. New technologies emerge constantly because you have multiple species with different strengths all contributing to development. What seems impossible to one species is often straightforward for another, leading to constant breakthroughs that push the boundaries of what's possible. Evening entertainment in this world would redefine everything you think you know about fun and relaxation. Sports leagues include competitions that involve multiple species working together in ways that create entirely new categories of athletic achievement. You might attend a racing event where human jockeys partner with land-based dinosaur runners in cross-country races that span hundreds of miles. The strategy involves human route planning and endurance management, combined with dinosaur speed and terrain navigation. The resulting competitions are more complex and exciting than any sport in our current world. Concert venues showcase musical collaborations that are impossible in our timeline. Dinosaur species that evolved sophisticated vocal abilities perform alongside human musicians, creating harmonies and sound combinations that use frequency ranges far beyond what humans can produce alone. Some dinosaur species can create sounds that you feel as much as hear, turning concerts into full-body sensory experiences. Art galleries feature collaborative works where human precision combines with dinosaur sensory capabilities to create pieces that stimulate senses we don't even have. Some artworks incorporate pheromone releases, electromagnetic patterns, and even low-frequency vibrations to communicate emotions and concepts that purely visual art never could convey. Dating and relationships in this world would be fascinating but complicated. Humans would primarily partner with other humans, but social circles would include dinosaur friends with completely different lifespans and social needs. Long-term planning becomes interesting when some of your friends might live for centuries while others have normal human lifespans. Shopping involves markets that accommodate both human-scale needs and dinosaur requirements. Stores are architectural wonders with multiple levels and size-appropriate sections, offering products that range from human clothing to specialized equipment for creatures that might weigh 20 tons. The most remarkable aspect of daily life would be the constant sense of wonder. Living alongside creatures that survived from prehistoric times, evolved beyond anything we can currently understand, and developed civilizations parallel to our own, would make every day feel like a science fiction adventure. This wouldn't just be our world with dinosaurs added. It would be a completely different type of civilization that represents what's possible when multiple intelligent species work together, instead of competing for dominance. So there you have it. A complete alternate history of what Earth might look like if that cosmic bullet had missed us 66 million years ago. We've explored a world where the atmosphere itself would be unrecognizable, where dinosaurs evolved into creatures that make our wildest science fiction seem mundane, and where humans, if we existed at all, would be junior partners in a civilization beyond our current understanding. The most incredible part of this thought experiment is not just how different everything would be, it's how it makes you realize how precious and improbable our own existence really is. Every human achievement, every piece of art, every scientific discovery, every moment of love and laughter in human history exists because of a single asteroid that happened to hit Earth at exactly the right angle, at exactly the right time, 66 million years ago. Think about that for a moment. The Renaissance, the moon landing, your favorite song, the person you love most. All of it exists because of a cosmic accident that cleared the stage for mammals to eventually evolve into us. In the dinosaur timeline we just explored, none of that human story would have ever happened. But here's what's really mind-blowing. In that alternate world, there would be stories, achievements, and wonders that we can't even comprehend. Dinosaur civilizations might have developed art forms, scientific theories, and social structures that make our greatest accomplishments look primitive. They might have solved problems we're still struggling with, or discovered aspects of reality that we haven't even thought to question yet. This alternate history also makes you wonder about all the other cosmic accidents that shaped our world. What if the moon had formed differently? What if Earth's magnetic field was stronger or weaker? What if our solar system was located in a different part of the galaxy? Each of these variables could have created completely different evolutionary paths, different forms of intelligence, different types of civilization. The dinosaur world we've explored represents just one of countless possible alternate histories. There could be timelines where cephalopods became the dominant intelligent species, or where plant intelligence evolved to rival animal cognition, or where life never left the oceans at all. Each possibility represents an entire universe of experiences, discoveries, and achievements that never happened in our timeline. Maybe that's the most important lesson from our journey through Dinosaur Earth. Our world, with all its problems and imperfections, is also an incredible miracle. The fact that you're here, right now, able to contemplate alternate realities and think about deep time and cosmic possibilities, represents a chain of unlikely events, stretching back billions of years. So the next time you're having a rough day, remember that you're the descendant of creatures that survived mass extinctions, ice ages, volcanic catastrophes, and cosmic impacts. You carry within you the DNA of survivors who made it through everything the universe could throw at them. And more than that, you're part of the only known civilization in the universe that can look back at its own history and forward to its own possibilities. If you enjoyed this journey through the world that never was, make sure to subscribe to What If for more mind-bending explorations of alternate realities and impossible scenarios. And drop a comment below with your favorite topic. What other alternate histories would you like to explore? What if humans had evolved from different species? What if gravity was stronger or weaker? What if we lived on a planet with multiple moons? The universe is full of infinite possibilities, and every single one of them has a story worth telling.